Alright, hey, what's up, guys? This is Biggs. Today I was on Facebook and I saw this post by 7 Joe right here. He's a MK4 player from Venezuela, probably top 5 MK4 players right now. And he posted this Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 tier list picture in his MK Venezuela group. It got a lot of comments and things like that. And I noticed that this tier list is pretty old. Um, I would thought that I would try and do an updated version for 2019. So today I'm gonna look at a few different tier lists. I'm gonna take a look at some old tier lists by Shock. Some of them are on UltimateMK, and then I'm gonna look at some tier lists with Rio and Juggs input, and then we're gonna look at some other tier lists by Hanzo from 2018, and then we're gonna try and make our own tier list for UMK3 right here. And I am gonna attempt to have this tier list in complete order. So 1 through 23, I guess. I think there's 23 characters. Um, this is gonna be a rather long video, so if you got something to do, uh, or if you have nothing to do, you can watch it. I'll probably timestamp each of my opinions on characters and where they place them. Um, First off, I think what we're gonna do is set this tier list to have S plus S A B C D F. I think that's fine for now. Some people don't like that format for tier lists. It's whatever. So I'm just gonna make the colors a little different here. And of course, I'll put the link for this tier list maker in the description if any of you guys want to make a tier list too and show me what you got, and we can discuss everything there. So let's make these colors pretty good. Okay, so the colors are good, and I think we got every character, so I'm only going to be doing the tournament playable characters in this video, so we're not going to include Noob Saibot or any of the bosses. Maybe at the end I'll give some sort of input on where I think Noob Saibot should be, but I might not. We'll see when we get there. So the first thing I'm going to do is look at some of the tier lists for UMK3 that in the beginning. So we're going to look at two different types of tier lists right here. This is a matchup based tier list. This is a mock example tier list you could find on UltimateMK. Um, it was made by Shock, of course. So this is one of the two types of tier lists out there. This is entirely matchup number based. So you basically find every character's matchups, and then you add up the numbers, and whoever has the highest number is the best. And then you go down from there. So the numbers on the matchups will decide tier placement in this type of tier list. Um, the other type of tier list is kind of like the one posted on the Ultimate MK guide. It kind of takes into account matchup numbers, but it also takes into account how you believe or how you feel about certain characters more than the numbers themselves. Matchup numbers matter, but this takes into account more of a belief on how good you think the character is, how underrated or overrated they are, their moves, how common the character is in a tournament setting, things like that. So, what I'm going to do today is try and make a tier list like the second one here on Ultimate MK, because I really don't want to go through all the matchup numbers for every character, and I don't really think it's necessary to get the general picture. But that's not to say that these tier lists are bad. I can give an example on how these tier lists can produce different results, even if they're made by the same people. One example is the MK9 tier list that I did with Rio and a bunch of other people recently. I'll see if I have a picture of that. Yeah, I got it one right here. So if I put this up right here, hopefully you guys can see that. I'll blow it up a bit too. So if you can see this tier list, ooh, that was a little too much. You can see this tier list right here is for Mortal Kombat 9. This is one that I did with a few other people, including Rio, Bill Stickers, RMATK, Mike Metroid, DJT, MIT, whole bunch of people that we did in 2017. This is considered to be the last tier list for MK9 and the most accurate. Um, but as you can see in MK9, it is very, very well known that Kabal is indeed the best character in the game. But when we look at this matchup tier list, we can see Kabal is actually not the best character in the game by matchup numbers. So we can see right here that Kenshi does produce higher matchup numbers than Kabal. So why isn't Kenshi considered the best character in the game? So this is the major issue with these matchup based tier lists right here. Some characters like Kenshi, if we take a look at his numbers, we can see that versus the better characters in the game, Kenshi versus Sonya, Kabal, Cyrax, Kung Lao, the numbers are pretty close. So we can see that he has a losing matchup versus Kabal. That's interesting. He is the best character in the game, but he loses a matchup. But then we'll look at Kabal's tier, his matchup numbers right here. If we look down the line with Kabal, we can see he does not lose a single matchup. Interesting. So we can see Kenshi, he loses a matchup, but he still has a higher numbers. This is because these type of tier lists can often get inflated by the really bad characters at the end. So if we take a look at characters like down here at the end of the tier list, look how many 8-2s Kenshi has. He has 8 on Rain, 8 on Sub-Zero, 8 on CyberSub, 8 on Quan Chi, 8 on Kano, 9 on Jade, 8 on Sheeva. These characters are never seen in tournament play whatsoever, but Kenshi absolutely dominates them. But then we have Kabal down here. He certainly beats all these characters, but it may not be as bad. If we look at Rain, he only beats Rain 7 instead of Kenshi's 8. So his lower tier matchups are not as inflated as Kenshi's. So if we look at Kabal, no losing matchups, that's why he's considered the best in the game. But on the matchup based tier list, Kenshi has higher numbers, but he does happen to lose a matchup right here. So this is kind of how these two different tier lists can produce different results. So we're going to take a look at not this tier list, but that was just to give an example down the line, because Hanzo's tier list actually is a more matchup based tier list as well. So I'm not going to really focus on this tier list too much. We'll go ahead and start with the UltimateMK one. So if we look at the UltimateMK guide for UMK3 right here, the guide actually lists the characters in order by rank. And I think this tier list was mainly compiled by Dead. And you know he has input from Shock and like Hanzo back then. But I think this is mainly Dead's kind of creation right here. So at the top, you see we have Kabal and Human Smoke. That's not a surprise. Kung Lao, number 3. He's definitely a good character, but I think in today's game, he's probably not seen as highly. He's not thought of as highly anymore. Kano at number 4. This is definitely something that isn't seen today by most players. Kano is certainly a good player, good character, sorry, but most people don't put him at number 4. Reptile at 5. Interesting choice, but Reptile is not a very popular character today. Same thing with Kung Lao and Kano. Usually, by today's standards, these 3 characters aren't used very much, so a lot of people have a lower opinion of them. Ermac at 6. I think Ermac is played a lot more today than he was before, so he would definitely go up by today's standards. Nightwolf at 7. Nightwolf is absolutely dominant in today's game. Part of that is probably due to the presence of like online play, but he's definitely higher up today than thought of before, at least used more. Robot Smoke, he's honestly not used that much today. I could see him being so well thought of before because in the arcade era, Robot Smoke was overused by a lot of players, but today not really anyone uses him, but he's very underrated in that aspect. Sindel at 9. Sindel, she's a good character, but she's not very special in that sense. I'll go back to her later. Jax at 10. I don't really understand this pick. I think Sonya is better than Jax, personally. Sonya at 11. That is a little low for Sonya. She's probably closer towards the top 5 by today's standards. Kitana at 12. This is absurd. Kitana is most likely top 5. Um, Stryker at 13 doesn't really matter. He's a good character because he can like duck under jabs. He has infinites. He's got mid combo launchers, so that's good. Scorpion at 14. This is um he's a what I would think of the exact middle of UMK3. Scorpion. He's probably what separates the top tier from the bottom tier type character. I'm not sure if I would put him this high. USub at 15. I would probably put USub higher by today's standards. Ice Clone is very good tool. Ice Shower is broken. Ice Clone is also broken as well. He has a slide punish, which is great. Um, he's got damage too. Good juggles. Jade at 16. This is probably high for Jade, but we'll think about that later. Liu Kang at 17. Probably a little high for Liu Kang too. Sektor at 18. This is surprising to some people. Uh, they usually think Sektor's a little bit lower, but I'd like to point out on this tier list, this does have Sektor higher than Cyrax. That is a common point of debate in today's game. I'll talk about that later though. We have Classic Sub at 19. He's probably really, really low by today's standards. Cyrax at 20. I would probably put him lower than that today. Shang Tsung at 21. Shang Tsung's probably thought of a lot better than he was back then. He does have glaring issues though. We'll get into that later. Mileena at 22. She has gone through the roof over the years. People like Hanzo make claims that Mileena is top 10, number 8, in fact. I'll examine that more later. Sheeva at 23. This is pretty common. Thinking Sheeva's the worst character. She has a lot of glaring issues just in terms of her glitches that make her hitbox standing even when she crouches. That is a really, really bad problem for her, and that matters a lot. So, that's all I gotta say about this tier list. As you can see, it's really old, and a lot of people will find it outdated. But some people like Dead to this day still swear on it, think that it's absolutely perfect. Um, so let's take a look at this tier list from Rio. This one is posted by Juggs, but it's in 2014, so it's a little bit older. This is Rio's opinion on UMK3 as a game. So as you can see, he has Kabal number 1, Human Smoke 2. Kung Lao is still number 3. Um, that's an interesting point. I don't think that's accurate today, but you can see he has Kitana as 4. Rio was probably the first person to actually say that Kitana is absolutely busted. And I think he was very much ahead of his time when he said that. As we could see today in the USA scene for UMK3, no doubt pretty much wins every tournament he goes to. And he makes heavy use of Kitana and Nightwolf. Reptile at number 5. I think this is like looking on the bright side of this character a little bit too much, but we'll look at it. Ermac number 6. I personally think Ermac is better than Reptile. Nightwolf at 7 is fair. Robosmoke at 8. Blah blah blah. A lot of this is copy pasted from the old tier list, as you could say. But the main thing to see here is that Rio thinks Kitana is top 5. So I think that is a healthy opinion. Now let's look at Juggs tier list from 2014. You can see that very common back then, Kabal, especially in the American scene, people think Kabal is the best character in the game. If today, a lot of the current UMK3 players in America especially think that Human Smoke is the best character, and that's sort of bled over from South America, who also believe the same thing. But I'll go into that more some later when we do the tier list. So as you can see, Juggs puts Ermac at number 3. I think this is a very healthy choice considering today's game state. So Juggs is probably pretty accurate at this point for Ermac. And he also puts Kitana at 4. I think this is also very progressive for the time period, 2014, but I think it's more or less accurate today. He puts Nightwolf at number 5. I think this is pretty healthy as well. Robosmoke at 6. That's an interesting pick. I'm not quite sure about that. And then you can see he trails off with Kung Lao, Jax, Sonya, Reptile, etc. Um, you can see right here, I'm not quite sure why, but a lot of people like to put Jax in front of Sonya. I don't think that holds true today. I think Sonya is a very powerful character. We'll look at that some more later as well. Um, Now let's look at the most current tier list for UMK3, and this was done by Hanzo in 2018. So he made a completely matchup based tier list. So like take into account some of the things I said about matchup based tier lists before and how they may not accurately reflect the tournament scene or the tournament choices when people pick characters for a game, but they are supposed to accurately reflect every matchup. So just take that into account. So we're going to take a look at this tier list a little bit more. I'll blow this up. So as you can see, he has all the matchup numbers on the left right here, and then he has the order on the right. So you can see he has Smoke as the best character in the game at 150 on the matchup. So this is what I was saying before about South America. They believe in Smoke a lot. Human Smoke, they believe in that character a lot. Then you can see another thing he has is Ermac is number 2. This is very different from before. In old times, Human Smoke and Kabal were considered the best characters in their own tier above every other character, S+. And Ermac was strongly considered to be in the top 5 after that. But you could see right now that he's putting Ermac at number 2. The reason for Hanzo's decision making about this process is that Human Smoke and Ermac are one of the only characters that can consistently punish sweeps for 50% or more in the game. So if Human Smoke, he blocks a close range sweep, he's going to spear that. That's like almost 60% damage mid-screen. Ermac, he can actually punish the lift from longer ranges. Human Smoke cannot punish a sweep from longer ranges with the harpoon, but Ermac can punish a sweep from longer ranges with his lift, and depending where you're at, he can do somewhere from 82%, and if he hits the corner, he can do 100%. So that's actually really dangerous. And then you can see their decision for putting Kabal at number 3. Kabal actually cannot punish sweep with any sort of special move. Spin will not come out from a crouch blocking state. The game does not allow it. So the best Kabal can get to punish a sweep on block is probably either a if you're really close, you can do uppercut. If you're kind of close, you can run up and get like a punish with your auto combo, though that's a bit harder. It's more common that you're probably going to see a Kabal punish a sweep with a high kick or a low kick. Most likely a low kick, and low kicks are punishable on hit, so you have to remember that. And then you can see Hanzo has Sonya at number 4. This is a very, very hot take, but I think it is a healthy hot take. Sonya is busted, in my opinion. Then he's got Nightwolf, Kitana, Kano still hanging on here, and then here we go. The next hot take is Mileena. Mileena is a very good character. She out damages mid-screen all the other female ninjas on ground combos. She also has an anti-air roll that's really good. She can side switch with teleport during combos. She has zoning with the Psy, female ninja normals. She's a good character for sure. So that's what I want to take here, and notice Hanzo still believes Shang Tsung's the worst character in the game. So yeah. So now I'm gonna go into actually creating the tier list, but before I do that, I'm gonna show you some things I'm gonna be using to make it. This is a relaunch chart, so this shows what character can relaunch every other character in the game and under what conditions. So we can see the green right here. You can relaunch if you have glitch cancel or if you have frame advantage. The yellow means you can only relaunch if you have glitch cancel active. Red means you can't relaunch, and these numbers here are special conditions. We're not going to pay too much attention to the special conditions because they're really do not matter much in competitive play at all, so we're not even going to take those into account for the most part. But we're going to look at basically green is good, yellow is okay, red is bad. So if we notice right here, Ermac and Human Smoke and Noob Saibot have green for every character. That means they can relaunch every character in the game no matter what. So just take that into account. I'm going to constantly refer back to this chart. And then this next chart is the jab data. So this is basically the length of the jabs and the priority for each jab as well. I'm going to refer to this too. We can see that Kabal's light punch has the most length, and then we can see that Sheeva's heavy punch has the most priority. So that is something to pay attention to. Really here you want to look at the priority. The length, it tells something, but the priority is actually the number to look at here. So I will refer back to this chart as well when we make my decisions. So now we're going to actually try and do this full ordered tier list. So right off the bat, I'm going to put Kabal and Human Smoke in S+. But I am gonna say that Kabal is the best character in the game. And that's gonna rub some people the wrong way. A lot of people really believe in Human Smoke, and I don't think Human Smoke, I really don't think he loses any matchups, but I also don't think Kabal loses any matchups either. I'm thinking about it hard right now. I can, something in my head is telling me that Human Smoke is better than Kabal, but Kabal is just so powerful as a character, and some people honestly believe that Kabal loses to Human Smoke. He gets kind of lamed out, and I am not one of those people that believes that. We're gonna take a look, and this will explain why I think Kabal is so powerful as a character. He practically invalidates like almost 70% of the cast. So let's look at, let's see if I can find this video here. We're gonna look at a speed match. Speed, I think he's from Brazil. So I'm just gonna play a small clip if I can find it. Let's see. Here we go. So this is a clip of speed versus base. And I'm really not going to play the whole video, but I'm going to play this small clip right here, which shows why Kabal is absolutely ridiculous. So here's just a small clip, and we're going to see that speed starts doing ensnare fireball, and look at this. When you do these ensnare fireballs like this, characters get absolutely invalidated. If they don't have a teleport punch, and I'm talking teleport punch like Human Smoke, Ermac, or Scorpion, or they have something similar to that, like let's say a Jade Glow, or like maybe a Reptile Force Ball, or like maybe Mileena can roll under the fireball or something like that, they get invalidated. So he just invalidates the whole cast at that point. They can't even move in close at all. You can't, this isn't like MK9 where you can duck under zoning and keep inching your opponent towards the corner. This game doesn't work like that. The fireball absolutely wrecks those characters. So I think Kabal is just so powerful because he invalidates most of the cast. But Human Smoke is definitely absolutely broken too. But I just think Kabal is proven to be the best. Now we're going to look at the next character. I'm going to put Ermac as number 3. I think Ermac being able to punish sweeps with the lift, and he has a launcher, a mid launcher knee. The reason why Ermac is going to be an S and not S plus is because Ermac actually has trouble dealing with jump ins. So, not just regular jump ins, more of the cross up jump in variety. So, if we look at Kabal, if you try and cross up Kabal with a jump in, he's going to spin that for free. If we look at Human Smoke and you try to cross him up, he can teleport to regain the space, but he also has the air throw, so he can deal with the jump ins with air throw. But when we look at characters like Ermac, they're kind of stuck. So you might ask why this matters. This matters a lot in matchups versus like Kung Lao. Kung Lao is one of those characters that's constantly jumping, crossing you up, stuff like that. So having a way to deal with cross-ups is really important, and Ermac lacks that. The next character I'm going to put is Kitana. This character's busted. You can think of Kitana as like a second version of Kabal. She's just a little bit different. She's more jab reliant. So she probably has the arguably the best jabs in the game. Not in terms of length, but how low they are. So she can actually jab people like Stryker, whereas Kabal's jabs would go over Stryker, then male ninjas would go over Stryker, but Stryker is going to get bodied by Kitana. Also, Ensnare Fan is ridiculous. It's literally a plus 10 Sonic Boom coming for you, and she can pressure you. She has good punishes on teleports. If you teleport on her, she's going to punish you for 50%. So, I mean, she's a very solid character, but the real story here is her jab game. She has most likely one of the best throws in the game. Her throw and Robot Smoke's throw, Sheeva's throw, Cyrax's throw are all really good. Kabal's throw is good as well. So I like Kitana for number 4. I'm going to stop with Kitana on the upside, and then we're going to work into the downside because I'm going to introduce a lot of problematic characters that we're going to have to deal with later, and we're going to have to really think about those. So at the bottom, I'm going to put Sheeva and Cyrax. I'm not quite sure which is worse than the other. I would possibly say Sheeva is the worst just because of her hitbox, but Cyrax is also really bad. Um, Cyrax, he has okay damage mid screen, and one thing he does have going for him is his air grab. It can punish jump kicks, which is really good. His net can give you some plus frames, but it gets invalidated by half the cast, pretty much. Um, and he's a robot, so and Sheeva, so that means they both get relaunched pretty easy. If we look at our chart here, if we look at Sheeva, she's got green for everybody across the horizontal, so that means she's getting relaunched by every character. And then we look at the robot ninjas, they get relaunched by everyone except Reptile. So just think about that. In here, not getting relaunched by Reptile doesn't matter that much because Reptile's combo damage versus robot ninjas is 70% anyways, so it is what it is. So I'm going to put Cyrax and Sheeva as the worst. I might swap their position later. Let's say for D tier, we're going to go one up. So here I'm going to put Liu Kang. Liu Kang is really bad character. He does not do enough damage, but he does have a launcher, and he has a instant air fireball, which is good. He's got some new punishers that can do high damage. If you go look at MGO's channel, he's got a bunch of high damage punishers now with bike kick. So I think he's fine. At D, I do think he's better than Cyrax. I'm iffy on Sheeva's placement, but right now I'll worry about that later. Who else is bad? I'm gonna put Sektor here, but I might put Sektor above Liu Kang. Sektor is good. He's underrated, I think. A lot of people think he's worse than Cyrax, but Sektor, the thing that makes him better than Cyrax is he's got a few things. First off, Sektor has a launcher that is a mid. His high punch launcher is mid. And if we look at the relaunch chart, we look at Sektor down here and we go from top to bottom, we can see that Sektor relaunches about every character in the game. And so if we look at female ninjas, he's not going to relaunch them very often because it says it can only be done in the corner. So we're not going to even pay attention to female ninjas. But you can see he can always relaunch Jax, always relaunch Kabal, relaunches Kano half the time, relaunches Kung Lao all the time, Liu Kang all the time, male ninjas half the time, Nightwolf, other robots, Shang Tsung, Sheeva all the time, Sindel half the time, Sonya all the time, Stryker half the time, and USub all the time. So I think by this, he probably outdamages Cyrax just based off his relaunch. Another thing that Sektor has for defensive option is the teleport punch, teleport uppercut. So this is good. He could punish some projectiles with that, which is good for anti-zoning. But also when Sektor gets stuck in the corner and people try to mix him up with a mid-knee, he can punish the knee by freezing the game, doing the teleport punch and getting a punish. So that's really good, and Cyrax doesn't have an option like that. And he kind of desperately needs it if you think about Cyrax's game plan. So the last thing I'm going to compare is the smart missile to the net. Cyrax's net is really good, but the problem with it is it gets invalidated by half the cast. So Cyrax, he likes to throw out the net to get some plus frames, and if it hits, he gets a combo. Cool. But the problem is, we look at Human Smoke, teleport punch, invalidates it. Ermac, teleport punch, invalidates it. Sektor, teleport uppercut, invalidates it. Sheeva, unblockable teleport, invalidates it. Jade, glow, invalidates it. Kung Lao, teleport dive kick, invalidates it. Mileena, teleport drop kick, invalidates it. Nightwolf, reflect, invalidates it. Scorpion, teleport, invalidates it. Shang Tsung, morph into any of the above characters, invalidates it. Robo Smoke, teleport uppercut, invalidates it. So, I mean, like, those are like 11, 11 characters out of 23 that invalidate that move. So, I mean, it's not so great, but when we compare it to the missile, the smart missile doesn't give as big as a reward if it hits, but it serves the same purpose if you block it. And most of the times in the glitch jab era, you're going to be blocking the projectile. It's still going to grant plus frames. So when you hit Sektor, the smart missile does not disappear. You have to deal with the smart missile, and he can have more than one out at the same time. So I think the smart missile is probably better than the net in the long run. But if we look at Cyrax's overall game plan, Cyrax is a defensive character, so he's going to be spending most of the time of the games basically turtling you out, throwing bombs out on the screen to kind of control where you go. If you throw the close bomb out with Cyrax, the opponent's going to go away. If you throw the far bomb out with Cyrax, the opponent's going to come towards you. So what Cyrax does, he basically likes to turtle you to the corner where he's in the corner, and he throws out a bunch of close bombs to kind of stop your approach in the corner, and then you get fucked from there. If you get hit by the close bomb in the corner, you're kind of fucked because you're gonna take like maybe a corner infinite with the air throw repeatedly. And like I said, another thing that reinforces that Cyrax is a defensive character, he can punish jump kicks with the air throw. And then when he wants to start the offense, he's gonna start throwing out the nets to do jab pressure, and then of course, you know, throw mix-ups and all that. So Cyrax he's good, but he doesn't do enough damage, and he's lacking specific defensive options for where he needs to be. So Cyrax, based on his turtling game plan, he's going to get stuck in the corner a lot, but he doesn't have a way to get out of the corner. But Sektor's a zoner. He's going to be throwing missiles out and all that. And then when you get him in the corner, he actually has an answer for when you guess wrong. He can actually do the teleport uppercut. So, and Sektor outdamages him most of the time based on the relaunch chart too. So I think those are some clear indications of why Sektor is a better character. Um, and another reason why I think Sektor is better than Liu Kang's placement here. Liu Kang, if we look at his relaunch chart, Liu Kang actually is blessed enough to have a launcher, but his launcher does no damage. And if we look at his relaunch chart, it's nowhere near as good as Sektor's. So Liu Kang has a lot of yellow and red, while Sektor has a lot of green and yellow. He has no red at all. So really, in reality, Liu Kang can only relaunch Sheeva, the robots, and Kung Lao all of the time. Everybody else is half the time or not at all. So I think this is a good placement of why Sektor is probably better than Liu Kang. Um, so then let's look at the next character. Um, I'm gonna put for the next character after that, I'm looking at Shang Tsung, Jade, and Stryker, maybe, in this kind of area. I'm trying to think. I think Shang Tsung has serious problems, but he actually has a lot of good things too that people underrate. So, of course, he has the morph, so he has probably the most options of any character in the game, but his zoning is also really good. But his zoning, you don't zone with Shang Tsung using the ground eruption, you zone using the horizontal fireball. So you're constantly going to be doing the three horizontal fireball. You're going to be morphing into characters that control space, um, morphing into whatever you need at any time. But if we look at his hitbox, he is practically unjuggleable, even though by today's standards, all the characters like Ermac, they have optimized combos towards Shang Tsung, but his hitbox is definitely a factor. And if we look at the jab data and we're going to go to Shang Tsung, we can see that he has 15-3, 15 on his light punch length, 3 on the priority. Let's look at male ninjas have the same thing. So his jabs are literally male ninja jabs. Liu Kang as well. Liu Kang has male ninja jabs. But the height also plays a factor too. So let's look at the height. Height male ninjas is 1, height of Shang Tsung's is 2. So that's something to keep in mind. It basically means that male ninjas jabs will whiff on Stryker and Shang Tsung's will not. So just keep that in mind. 1 is worse than 2 in the height area. So basically, Shang Tsung has better jabs than male ninjas. Just keep that in mind. So that's one of the reasons why I think Shang Tsung is a lot better than before. But we also have to think about Jade. Jade, a lot of people think Jade's better than Mileena. I'm not one of those people. But Jade is a problematic character because she has some really interesting moves on her list. So the boomerang is not really too important, even though the return boomerang is really good. But the really interesting moves Jade has is the shadow kick and the glow. The shadow kick is stupid. You cannot punish it on block, and even if you make it whiff, it is still extremely hard to time the punish. You have to do some like sacrifice like three people on like a full moon night to punish that shit. Like it's fucking stupid. But the glow is actually the move that like makes Jade so interesting. The glow is a projectile invulnerable move, but she can cancel block stun into the glow. And that makes her able to punish moves that other characters in the game cannot punish at all. So that's what really makes Jade a ridiculous character. And also her jabs, if we look at the jabs, she has female ninja jabs. So she's in there, right? But then, is she better than Shang Tsung? As a base character, Jade is better than Shang Tsung, I would say. But Shang Tsung has the ability to do morphs and things too. So that's interesting. The morph back hurts Shang, um, but I'm not sure. Um, you definitely see only one Jade, two Jades in America. Dubson plays Jade, and No Doubt's a part timer with Jade. But in America, you also really only see two Shang Tsungs. You see Magister, and you can see Ziggy too. Um, and I think historically, if we look at the last tournament, Get in Ohio, uh, Dubson, I think, placed higher than Magister with Jade. Um, Magister did make top 8 though. Uh, I'm conflicted on this. Um, let's look at Stryker. Stryker is a character I'm biased towards. I think Stryker's terrible, personally, but he does some have redeeming. He does have some redeeming factors. Mainly his hitbox. He makes a lot of jabs whiff. We go back to this jab data chart. Everybody who has a one priority jab will whiff. I mean, sorry, a one height jab will whiff on Stryker. So Kabal's jabs whiff, Kano's jabs whiff, Liu Kang's jabs whiff, Male Ninja's whiff, Nightwolf whiff, um, Stryker whiff. Stryker, this is actually his main problem here. His jabs whiff on everyone. Um, I think they hit Sheeva though, because she's technically standing. But his jabs whiff on everyone else crouching. But he makes most people's jabs whiff on them too. So this is one of his redeeming factors. He also has an infinite, which is nice if he gets the pop up. So I'm gonna say Stryker is probably better than these characters. Probably. He's definitely better than all these. He might be better than Jade. Maybe. It's possible. It's definitely possible. I'm going to keep their position right there. I might change it towards the end. Next up, we got B tier. I think I'm going to go and start from the top again. At number 5, I am going to put Sonya. Sonya is going up here in S. I think Sonya is... Should I put her in S? She's ridiculous. She's definitely a ridiculous character. She's got a great sweep. But the thing that really makes Sonya absurd is the near universal relaunch she has. Look at this. Sonya, over here. Look at all this green and yellow. She relaunches Stryker, Sonya, female ninjas half the time. Everybody else is getting relaunched every time. That is crazy. That's absolutely crazy. So she's a high damage character. She's got anti-airs with the bike kick, and that move is practically unpunishable if you block it. She's got the leg grab, which is an unblockable. If you block high, it's basically a low hitting attack. And her knee is fast, very fast. So, I mean, Sonya is a great character. But also, I'm going to put Nightwolf here too. I think Nightwolf is an S tier character. Yeah, Nightwolf is definitely seeing a lot of play. He's probably the most common character today, Nightwolf. I think that's practically due to his prevalence in online play. He's a good character online, and he's also not bad offline. He only loses like he loses a few matchups. That's the problem. I might bump Nightwolf down to A, but he's definitely a good character, I think. Um, then here in A, I'm gonna put Robo Smoke, um, Reptile is definitely good in A tier. Um, Robo Smoke, is he better than Reptile? That's an interesting question. I'm inclined to believe Reptile is better than Robo Smoke. Reptile has male ninja normals. He's not a robot. That's the biggest glaring weakness for Robo Smoke, is that Robo Smoke is a robot. That means he has bad jabs and he is getting relaunched. One thing that Robo Smoke does have, he has the air grab, but when we compare him to Reptile, Reptile has the slide for the same purpose of dealing with the cross-up jumpers. So I think Robo Smoke gets out damaged by Reptile. They both have invisibility. Robo Smoke does manage his invisibility better than Reptile, but overall I think Reptile is a better character. Also, I might be inclined to say Reptile is better than Nightwolf, but I do not think Reptile is better than Sonya. So I am going to bump Nightwolf down, maybe here. Nightwolf is still a good character, though. That's the thing. I think Nightwolf is a good character. He's absurd. I'll examine them some more later, because I think Nightwolf and Reptile are some really problematic characters to place, because they have a lot of matchup numbers that kind of go against how most people think they are. Another character of these, the problematic characters left, if I take them off, I think Nightwolf, Reptile are problematic. Classic Sub and USub are definitely problematic. Mileena's problematic. Kano and Kung Lao are problematic. So I think we're going to keep these characters off, and then we're going to place the other ones. I think Jax is going in B, personally. I don't think he's strong enough to be in A tier simply because his damage. He's definitely a rape trained character, so like once he gets on you, he's not really coming off. He keeps pressure really well. He does have an air grab. He's got a good sweep. He's got mids. He's got zoning, which is powerful. So I think he's pretty good. But I'm going to say Kano is better than him, because Kano basically does all of Jax's rush down, but he also has better punishment, I think. But Jax is definitely a good character. I think Kano is a little overestimated. The reason Kano's problematic is he has all the tools. He literally has everything to succeed in UMK3. It's just, it's kind of hard to manage when you put it all together. So Kano, he has the grab infinite in the corner. Cool. He's got the air throw. He deals with crosser jumpers. Cool. He's got the sweep. Best sweep in the game. Cool. He's got the mids. He's got the relaunches. We look at his relaunch chart. His relaunch chart is practically the same as Sonya's. He's got the cannonball to punish everything. So he's got a knife he can throw every once in a while to do neutral. So why is Kano bad? Why is he bad? The reason why Kano is bad is simply because he is not, no one has come along and proven to us why Kano is good, basically. If we look at all Kano's tools, he's got everything. But no one has demonstrated that these tools, the culmination of these tools, are enough to perform well at any tournament. That's his main problem. Kano is one of those characters that in theory he's godlike, but no one has demonstrated that to be the case. So that's just his problem. That's the reason why Kano's problematic. He's just strange in that regard. He has everything, but when you add it all up, is it better than Human Smoke? No. Is it better than Sonya? Maybe, but it's definitely not better than Kitana. So I mean, it's just strange. It's really weird. Really weird. Sindel, I'm gonna place her here. I think Sindel she's one of those characters that isn't special to me. Sindel has jabs. She's got knees that launch. Cool. But outside of that, what does she really do that's special? She's got a flight cancel. That's cool. But like she throws fireballs and her knees lead to 50% combos, but how is that different from the ninjas or Sonya? Her sweep is not anything of note. Her jabs, if we look at the jab data, find Sindel on here. Sindel has a 15-0 and a 2, so that's not really anything of note either. So she's just one of those characters that, like, she's not bad, but she's just not special. Um, that's why I think that Jax is probably better than Sindel in the long run. Um, it definitely Kano's better than Sindel, though. I can tell you that right now. But Sindel, she does do a lot of damage. She's got a corner infinite. That's basically all Sindel has going for her. She does damage. If she blocks something, she does a scream glitch on you. You're going to be taking like 60 to 70, 60 plus damage. If she blocks something and it puts in punishment mode, she's got a corner infinite, even though it's practically it's not practical. We'll say that it's not impossible, but it's not practical. Um, so Sindel, she's a good character. She's just not special. Um, Kung Lao, Kung Lao, Kung Lao, Kung Lao, Kung Lao. Problematic character right here. He has got the tools and he invalidates so many characters. So many characters. So many characters in this game cannot deal with Kung Lao, but the top tier can. And this is why I think Kung Lao is, he's kind of like shit on, kind of for no reason, but at the same time you can't blame it. Because if we look at today, who are people playing today? They're playing Kabal, they're playing Human Smoke. They're playing like Kitana, like all these characters, but mainly Cabal, Human Smoke. That's who people are playing. And Kung Lao does not beat those characters. He loses very blatantly to Cabal, loses very blatantly to Human Smoke. So what can you say here? But at the same time, he's also bodying everybody else. Like, he doesn't beat Kitana, in my opinion. Ermac, I think, is a good fight. Um, Maybe 5-5, maybe in Kung Lao's favor. Ermac has a lot of, this is Ermac's main weakness, is that he has a hard time dealing with cross-up jumps. Um, Sonya versus Kung Lao. I can see Sonya beating Kung Lao with the Universal Relaunch, um, but it's still a good match. Robo Smoke versus Kung Lao. Kung Lao could probably beat Robo Smoke in a fight. Because what Robo Smoke likes to do, he likes to play really tricky with the invisibility. That's his main game. And Kung Lao absolutely destroys invisibility. It's meaningless versus him. Absolutely meaningless. Um, Kung Lao is. He kind of gets bodied by characters that have answers to the jumps, it's like I'm saying. So, like Kano, Jax, they have air throws, so they can deal with Kung Lao's pressure very well. But Kung Lao is not a bad character. I do think Kung Lao is probably better than Sindel, probably better than Jax. And is he better than Kano? That's the problem. Kung Lao has a long range sweep, um, one of the longer sweeps in the game, maybe the best anti-air in the game. He has damage, 40% combos. So I think he does out damage Kano, but he has problems. But he invalidates so many characters. Kung Lao is so polarizing in this game. I'm trying to think why. I think Kung Lao is probably better than Kano. Maybe. Maybe. I think they're close. I think Kano and Kung Lao are close. They're at like the edge right here. Um, Now we're gonna put Scorpion. I'm gonna do Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Classic Sub. So I'm gonna put them here. I do think that Scorpion is worse than Unmasked Sub. Because when we compare them, Unmasked Sub outdamages Scorpion. Scorpion and Unmasked Sub both punish the sweep on block. Scorpion has the spear, so he gets a little bit more damage, but Classic Sub's still getting the punish nonetheless with the slide. Also, they both deal with the anti-air cross-ups. Scorpion has the air throw. Classic Sub has the slide again. But Scorpion has the teleport. That is the main issue here. So the teleport is really, really good. But Classic Sub has the Ice Clone and the Ice Shower. They both have mids. I want to say Classic Sub is better. I'm sorry, Unmasked Sub. Unmasked Sub I'm talking about, not Classic Sub. Unmasked Sub. The teleport with Scorpion is an escape option. So that helps him get out the corner. That's really important in this game, actually. That's really important. Unmasked Sub, he has the Ice Clone, which is basically a wall that says you cannot come towards me. But then he has the Ice Shower, which is just plus frames. Plus frames, plus frame, plus frame. It's control. Complete control. And if Unmasked Sub, he touches you, he can side switch. Scorpion, if he touches you, he can't side switch, but he has the ability to side switch whenever with the teleport. So technically, Scorpion is probably better with the escape options. Defensively, maybe? I don't know. Is the teleport better than the Ice Clone? Ice Clone is ridiculous. That's one thing people don't give enough credit for. Ice Clone is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Ice Shower is completely broken too. It's ridiculously underutilized. Man, this is hard. Maybe Scorpion is better. Let's look at the other tier lists and we'll see. See, they have them right neck to neck. That's the crazy part. They say Scorpion comes out on top here. And we'll look at Hanzo's list. He thinks Scorpion is better as well. So that's interesting. I think these characters are really close together. I'm going to say that Scorpion is slightly better just because the teleport is so powerful. It's so powerful. The air throw damage is more than the slide. Scorpion, when he punishes and Unmasked Sub punishes, they're getting about the same damage too. If not, Scorpion's doing more damage mid-screen. In the corner, they're pretty even, or Unmasked Sub does more. Sorry. The sweep punishes. Scorpion is outdamaging Unmasked Sub on punishes, and he has the teleport. So I think Scorpion is better. Then we have Classic Sub and Unmasked Sub. This is the kicker here, because a lot of people like to talk about male ninja normals and all that. Unmasked Sub has some normals. He's got some normals, like ridiculous normals. I'll pull up another chart here that has all the normal hit length of the hitboxes. Let's see if I could find that. Let's pull this up on the... So let's make this a bit bigger. Let's look at Unmasked Sub. Look at this. This is the hitbox length per normal. If we look at this chart, we can see that Unmasked Sub on average has the best normals in the game. Best normals in the game, if we look on average. Let's look. He has a better light punch length than the male ninja. He has a better light kick length than the male ninja. He has a better heavy punch high punch. He has a better high kick. He's got better. He out his normals are on average better than the male ninja, and classic sub is one of those male ninjas that doesn't have much to do with special moves. He's more of like a noob Saibot-esque character where he's playing with just his normals for the most part. Um, but the puddle is powerful. Classic sub is like the rushdown version of unmasked sub. Unmasked sub is going to turtle you out, and he's more control based. Classic sub is more like a brick wall moving towards you, and he's going to hit you for damage. So the ice puddle is so good versus glitch jabbers, um, and the uh, his slide is better than unmasked subs. The ice freeze is the same, but the damage off of it is absurdly more for classic sub. If we look at the relaunch chart here, CSub, look at his relaunches. He's got very good relaunch versus Kabal, works all the time. He's got a good relaunch versus Nightwolf. That's another common character right here. And then everybody else that's like male ninjas, he's relaunching half the time, pretty much. Robots always get relaunched. Sheeva always gets relaunched. So, I mean, he's getting damage, and they're versus common characters as well. So, classic sub definitely out damages unmasked sub, but unmasked sub, you can't like downplay the control that that character has on the pace of games. He completely stops some characters from advancing. So like let's say if we look at a Nightwolf, um, Nightwolf is going to be able to play UMK3 versus classic sub, but unmasked sub has so much control over the game. Like he can literally stop Nightwolf's whole approach with just one move, Ice Clone. Ice Clone. Any character that doesn't have a way to deal with Ice Clone, Unmasked Sub is in control of that fight. So like Nightwolf is a common answer. Kabal, Ice Clone. You stop his approach, but see Kabal has options. Kabal can do the gas blast and things like that. But Nightwolf can't in that matchup. So it's just really strange. Sonya too. Sonya, what's she doing versus Ice Clone? She can't do anything. Jax, what is he doing versus Ice Clone? Can't do anything. Sindel versus Ice Clone, her approach gets stopped completely. Kano, Ice Clone, what's happened? Like the gameplay, the game state is completely fucked at that point just based off one move, Ice Clone. So that's something you really can't downplay is the fact that Ice Clone has so much control over the match's pace. Unmasked Sub completely controls match pace versus practically the whole cast, while classic sub, he's just kind of just rushing you down the whole time, and I'm not sure if that's a better game plan, really. Would you rather be in control, or would you rather have to get hits to get in control? It's just strange to me. I'm gonna say that unmasked sub is better than classic sub. Um, yeah, I think I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to defend this placing right here. But I do think that Scorpion, Unmasked Sub, and Classic Sub are really close together. Like they're almost interchangeable at that point. Um, so now we're down to some problems. These are some problems. I think Nightwolf is probably the least problematic out of these all. He's going somewhere here. I think Nightwolf is better than Robosmoke, but I'm not sure if he's S tier personally. He might be A tier, but he is prevalent enough to be S tier. But I'm going to stick him here in A tier. The problem with Nightwolf is he loses important matchups to the characters above him pretty much. So Kabal, Human Smoke, Kitana, Sonya, they all beat Nightwolf. Ermac is probably more of a 5-5. Um, then I'm going to say that Reptile. Reptile is definitely better than Robosmoke in my opinion, but is he better than Nightwolf? This is a hard one. Reptile has his own in game. He's got rushdown too, but Nightwolf has better rushdown. Reptile out damages Nightwolf, but Nightwolf damages faster than Reptile. Reptile has invisibility. Nightwolf doesn't have that. Nightwolf is a rushdown character, but Reptile switches. He's a zoning character, but he can also rush down as well and turtle it out. But I feel like Nightwolf loses matchups to the characters above him. Kabal, Human Smoke, Kitana, Sonya. He loses those matchups, and he also, I think he loses, quite frankly, to Unmasked Sub-Zero. And I think Classic Sub's a 5-5. And I think Kung Lao can give him a run for his money too. But Reptile loses to less important characters, I think. So like Reptile actually can play versus Kabal pretty well. Reptile does get bodied by Human Smoke. He kind of gets bodied by Ermac too, but Reptile just needs one touch to end those fights. So it's like, yeah, they may outplay him for the whole game, but they fuck up once and they're dead. Nightwolf doesn't really have that necessity in the matchups. He doesn't have the one touch kill versus these characters. So Kitana versus Reptile, I think honestly he doesn't do any different than Nightwolf would. I think Kitana is just a brick wall coming towards them to body them. Reptile versus Sonya is annoying because Sonya's jump-ins are so good. You can't anti-air Sonya. There's a few characters in UMK3 you can't anti-air. You can't anti-air Sonya. You can't anti-air Nightwolf. You can't anti-air Kung Lao. Those are just some characters like you're gonna try and anti-air them, you're gonna get bodied. You have to have the most god anti-air in the game to deal with them. Like their jump punch is OD. It has so much range. So much range. So that's one of the reasons Reptile struggles versus Sonya, but the zoning game versus Sonya is so good. That's the interesting part. And he can hit Sonya for like 82% maxed. So, I'm sorry, 84% maxed if I recall correctly. So I'm feeling like Reptile is better than Nightwolf because he loses to less important characters, but versus the more important matchups, Reptile seems to do better than Nightwolf. Just on the characters above him, I think. But like Reptile does get bodied, like I said, by Human Smoke, by Ermac. Kitana is not very fun either. Kung Lao is a major problem for Reptile. The Sub-Zeros are quite annoying for Reptile to deal with. Scorpion is like whatever. It's fine. Jade is whatever. It's fine. Everybody else is getting bodied. Nightwolf is also a hard character for Reptile to deal with. I think that's one of his harder matchups as well, just off the anti-air factor. So I mean, I just think Nightwolf, he kind of gets bodied. They both lose like the same amount of matchups, but I feel like Reptile loses to less common characters. Really, if we look at their matchups, Nightwolf also loses to Kung Lao. Maybe it's a possibility. He definitely, I think, loses to Unmasked Sub-Zero. Classic Sub is probably a 5-5. Classic Sub is relaunching Nightwolf, punishing the slides, and he's got I think it's probably 5-5. So maybe Nightwolf does have better matchups. I'm not sure, but Nightwolf gets bodied by Kabal, bodied by Human Smoke, bodied by Kitana, bodied by Sonya. Ermac's not a problem. But we look at, so of those 5, he gets bodied by 4 of them. If we look at Reptile gets bodied by Human Smoke, gets beat by Ermac, gets bodied by Kitana. I feel like he loses less to the characters above him. But below them, I feel like Reptile loses more. So based on tournament play, I'm going to say that Nightwolf is easily the more common character to see, but I'm going to say Reptile is better than Nightwolf. That's weird. That's weird having me say that. Because when we look at the matchup chart, Reptile's so low compared to Nightwolf here. But I feel like Reptile's matchup numbers are kind of like lower based on the lower tier characters. So I think in the matchup sense, Nightwolf definitely has better matchups. He's definitely the more common character, but I am almost inclined to say Reptile is better. Maybe. Maybe. Maybe he's better. Switching that doesn't look so bad either. Because we have Kabal, Human Smoke, Nightwolf at 6, Reptile at 7. So maybe it's not so bad. If you have any insight on that, you're probably gonna say Nightwolf's better. But as a Reptile player that knows quite a bit, I'm thinking, and Reptile's matchups aren't that great, but he outdamages Nightwolf. He has better normals than Nightwolf. He has better zoning than Nightwolf. But Nightwolf has better rushdown, and that's the issue. It's just so interesting. You can leave that in the comments if anybody's watched this far. Last character is Mileena. I know you guys have been waiting for this. Is Mileena top 8? Well, obviously not if we look at this, because we have Kabal, Human Smoke, Ermac, Kitana, Sonya is 5, Nightwolf is 7. We got 8 for Reptile. I'm sorry. Nightwolf is 6. 7 for Reptile. 8 for Robot Smoke. So, do you think Mileena is better than Reptile? No, she is definitely not better than Reptile. Is Mileena better than Robot Smoke? I can see that more. I can definitely see that more, but I do think that Robo Smoke is really underrated. But I could see Mileena being better than Robot Smoke. I could see that. Is Mileena better than Kung Lao? That's a tough one. That's definitely a tough one. That's tough. I do think Mileena is better than Sindel, personally. Is Mileena better than Jax? I could see that. I could see that. Mileena is definitely better than Scorpion. Definitely better than Scorpion. She's better than Sindel. So we have her right here. Is she better than Jax? That is the question. Is Mileena better than Jax? I'm inclined to say that Mileena is better than Jax. And some of you are going to disagree with that. But let's think about it. Mileena outdamages Jax mid-screen. Jax probably outdamages her in the corner. I can see that. Jax does have a better sweep. Mileena has a better sweep punish. Mileena has zoning. Jax has better zoning. Mileena has better jabs than Jax, though. Jax has a better throw than her, though. Mileena has a glitch jabbable high punch starter. Jax does not use that starter very much. So I'm thinking Mileena is better than Jax. But that's tough. And now, is Mileena better than Kano? Is Mileena better than Kano? I'm going to tell you right now. If you give me Mileena or you give me Kano, I'm definitely going to do better with Mileena because I'm biased. But Kano does outdamage Mileena. Kano does have more... Kano outdamages Mileena with relaunches. Mileena outdamages him otherwise. Kano has the air throw to deal with the cross-ups. Mileena has the roll. The cross-up damage is higher for Mileena. Mileena has the ability to side switch in combos. Kano does not, but Kano does outdamage her. Mileena has better zoning than Kano just off the Psy alone. Kano's knife is not good. Mileena does have better jabs than Kano. That is the issue too. Kano has so many tools. They both have mid launchers. Kano on relaunch will do more damage than Mileena. If we look at this relaunch chart right here, Kano is relaunching everybody. Mileena only relaunches Kung Lao, only relaunches the robots, Sheeva sometime. Meaning like not even sometime, almost never versus Sheeva, based off the one. So Kano does outdamage Mileena. But I feel like Mileena in a tournament setting is definitely better than Kano. That's the hard part here. It's the hard part. Kano, this is Kano's problem is he's got everything, but it literally means nothing in tournament. Ooh, that's ugly. I feel really bad about this, but I'm going to say Mileena is better than Kano. I feel bad about that. Is Mileena better than Kung Lao? That's a stretch, I think. Kung Lao is so polarizing. Let's look at their matchups. Kung Lao gets shit on by Kabal. Absolutely shit on. Not even worth playing. Mileena doesn't. Mileena does better versus Kabal than Kung Lao. Kung Lao gets shit on by Human Smoke. Mileena gets... I think Human Smoke is Melina's worst matchup, personally. So she gets shit on as well. But she's already looking better just based on the Kabal matchup. Look at Ermac. Kung Lao does pretty good against Ermac. Mileena, it's so-so. The teleport it's so-so. It's not quite Human Smoke, but it's so-so. Kitana shits on Kung Lao. Mileena, she can do something versus Kitana. They have the same normals, same hitboxes. So you just got to play the fundamental game on that. So I think she does do better versus Kitana. Versus Sonya, I think Mileena does do better versus Sonya than Kung Lao does. Nightwolf, honestly, Nightwolf is probably not that bad for either of them. Mileena does lose to Reptile, but Kung Lao bodies Reptile. Robot Smoke. I would think Robot Smoke would beat Kung Lao more than Mileena. So I think Mileena can probably beat Robot Smoke based on the relaunch. If we look at the relaunch chart, Mileena is going to relaunch the robots 100% of the time. The reason why I think that Kung Lao is going to have trouble versus Robot Smoke is the air throw is really a problem. The spear is also a problem as well. He's got a good throw game, all that. So if we look at that, we're going to take this. Mileena does better versus Kabal. That's 1. Does better versus Kitana. That's 2. Does better versus Sonya. That's 3. Does better versus Robot Smoke. That's 4. If we look at 4 for Mileena, we look at Kung Lao. Kung Lao does better versus Ermac. That's 1. Does better versus Reptile. That's 2. So honestly, if you look at it, if you really look at it, Mileena is doing better versus higher tier characters than Kung Lao, and some people are gonna be salty about that. They're gonna be salty about that. I know some of y'all are thinking, Biggs, you're full of shit right now, but when you think about it, Mileena does better versus those characters, I think. Now, this is the stretch. Is Mileena better than Robot Smoke? This is the stretch right here. And this is where people are gonna get mad and say Mileena number 8. It's possible. It's definitely possible. So let's take a look at this. Robot Smoke. He only gets damage off the spear and off the teleport punch, 2 unsafe moves. Mileena can do the same amount of damage that he gets off of a spear, off of her high punch glitch jabbable string, which will give her 41% mid screen, and in the corner it's in the 50s, 60s maybe. The spear is actually really real from Robot Smoke. Robot Smoke has the best spear. Fast, hard to punish. Mileena is definitely got zoning with the ensnare Psy, but the invisibility game from Robot Smoke is so powerful. I think Mileena outdamages him most of the time. I think that's a fair assessment, is that she outdamages him most of the time. They both punish sweeps. He punishes the sweeps harder. The spear will grant him like 40% and an invisibility. A sweep punish from Mileena at most is probably going to get her like, I think like 40 maybe. I can't remember. I think it's roll, high punch roll, high punch, jump kick, air Psy, and I think that's like 40 damage. So they actually probably do about the same damage. She does more damage on the cross-ups though. So he gets an air throw on the cross-ups. Mileena will get the roll. So she does outdamage him there. They both side switch in combos, depending on the combo. Robot Smoke can do the air throw and it will side switch. Depending on his starter, Mileena can do the teleport drop at any time though. So she could side switch at all times. She has better jabs. That's the killer right there. She has better jabs than Robot Smoke. Ooh, this is tough. This is absolutely tough. Is Mileena better than Robot Smoke? Ooh. That's ugly. That's ugly. That is so ugly. I feel terrible about that too. Is she better than Robot Smoke? Ooh. Tell me in the comments if you think Mileena is better than Robot Smoke. Because I feel so bad because Robot Smoke is so underrated. He's not used a lot today. They're both not used a lot, but I think honestly, Mileena's got a lot more hype around her, so there's a bit more bias towards her. But Robot Smoke is definitely not a bad character. And just look at this. Mileena better than Kung Lao. Mileena better than Kano. Ooh, that hurts. Like if we go back to this list, that definitely hurts. That's throwing like years of UMK3 out the window. That hurts. Ooh, that hurts. Let's look at Hanzo's matchup chart. He says Robot Smoke only 113, but he has a star by it. So star on this matchup chart means that Robot Smoke could be higher because invisibility plays a factor. So that's rough. That's really rough. And he has Kano better than Mileena too. That's so rough. Oof. Ooh, that hurts. But you know what? Mileena top 8, baby. What can you say? You heard it here first. Biggs says Mileena is top 8. Man. That's rough. Alright, so I think I'm gonna cap it there, and we're just gonna do a quick run through to make sure everything's in the correct order. Kabal, Human Smoke, they're really close, but I think Kabal invalidates more characters than Human Smoke does. I'm just going to say that right there. These characters right here in S are also very close, but just based off of Ermac's Sweep Punish, it definitely makes him better in the end game for UMK3 down the line. So yeah, Kitana's jabs are definitely no joke though. Like I think these characters here, they're pretty interchangeable, but Ermac is definitely better than these other two. Kitana is a rape train though. That character is no joke. Absolutely no joke. Sonya, she's also no joke. Her mids are so fast. She does so much damage. The relaunch, everything. Nightwolf and Reptile. Um, I think it's fine. I think Nightwolf being better than Reptile is fine. I think that's definitely fine. Um, you might even swap Nightwolf with Sonya, but I do think that Sonya is better character than Nightwolf, generally speaking. Reptile is definitely better than Mileena. Mileena being better than Robot Smoke, that is, some people are going to have a fit about that, but I think it's debatable. It's definitely debatable. And his hitbox is definitely it's also definitely an issue. Robot hitbox is like notoriously getting relaunched. Mileena, she's a female ninja. Her hitbox is one of the best in the game for avoiding things like that. Kung Lao, a lot of people are going to have problems with this placement because Kung Lao, he was so high up before top three. It's kind of weird because Kung Lao does body, just he invalidates half the cast just based on his game plan alone. So that's pretty ugly. Kano, also really strange. I think Kano has everything. This is the problem with Kano that makes him so problematic. He has everything, but we haven't seen anyone do anything with it. So that's his problem. Jax and Sindel. We're going to take back a look at UltimateMK. They had Sindel better than Jax. I think this is simply because Sindel outdamages Jax, but I think Jax has a better zoning game and he damages people faster than Sindel. So it really just depends on matchup preference right here. These characters are pretty interchangeable as well. But definitely speaking that maybe if you're playing versus like Human Smoke, it's better to choose Sindel. If you're playing versus like Kitana, it's probably better to choose Jax. Something like that. Something you might think about. But those characters can probably switch as well. These next three, they're pretty interchangeable. But I do think there is a divide between Sindel and Scorpion right here. So we might have to cut off the tiers here. So maybe we'll move these characters down. Yeah, maybe we'll move them down a bit. How about that? That probably looks a little better. That gives a little more respect on Sindel and Kung Lao. Shang Tsung is bad though. He's definitely bad. Definitely bad. Maybe he goes here. Jade. Jade's not very good either. But she's good enough though. She's Scorpion tier, I think. She's bad though. I think Jade's fine there. I think she's fine there. But does Shang go here? Shang's bad, but he's not that bad. I definitely think Sindel's the cutoff though. So I think everybody in C tier is pretty interchangeable after classic sub. Jade being better than Stryker is very arguable. I can see that if you make a point here. Just comment down below if you think so. Next thing we have is Sheeva and Cyrax. I'm tempted to say Sheeva is a better character than Cyrax. I'm so tempted because she outdamages him. But Cyrax, the problem with, she outdamages Cyrax, but both their hitboxes are shit. But Sheeva's hitbox is more shit for jabs, but she messes up combos more. Does she have better tools than Cyrax? Not really. She's got an unblockable teleport. She's got a ground slam. Her jab. She has heavy punch jabs though. That's one thing to note, that Sheeva does have the best high punch jabs in the game. So that's interesting. But I don't feel like Sheeva beats anybody. Like, what character does Sheeva beat? Think about that. Think about Cyrax too. What character does he beat? I could see Cyrax beating Liu Kang. I could see that. I could definitely see that. Cyrax beating Liu Kang. But who does Sheeva beat? I think Liu Kang beats Sheeva. Sektor beats Sheeva. Cyrax beats Sheeva. That's interesting. Let's look at this. They have Sheeva as the worst here and Cyrax higher. We look at this here. They have Shang Tsung, Cyrax. Sheeva is higher than Cyrax there. But if we look here, Cyrax is higher than Sheeva. That was the original. No, that's Rio's. And then here we have Cyrax higher than Sheeva. I'm going to say Cyrax is better than Sheeva, just based off that. And I think this is where I'm going to cut it off right here. So if anybody has anything to say, you can comment me. I'll put some timestamps on the video description and we could talk about everything. Thanks for watching, guys.